Hello, welcome back to the Thrifty Suburbanite channel. The project now is going to be a rear carrier for my Kioti CS2520 tractor. I intend to use this to throw cut firewood on the back, bring it out of the woods up to the splitter, bring it into the house once it's split, whatever I need a carrier for in the back. I looked online, looked around, I saw a bunch of plans, a bunch of ideas on how to build these things. They all seem to revolve around a carrier for the back of the tractor. Tractor Supply, the price has gone up now. They're almost $275 for these things. So, true to my thrifty nature, I start scrounging around. I found this old bed frame that was being discarded. It's already got some tubing welded in. It's got these cross pieces welded in. It's a little bit light, but what I'm going to do is cut this in half, slide it down, weld it together so we have a double layer of this angle. I've already reinforced it a little on the bottom. I forgot the video of that, of course. It's got some heavy pieces of angle on the bottom where the hitch pins are going to go through. You'll notice it's a little bit wide for the category 1 hitch in the back of the tractor, but the arms do spread far enough apart and the hitch pins are going to work. I already played around with that a little bit to make sure it's going to work. Not a welder, not an engineer. This is just something I'm playing around with, trying to make something out of nothing. Scrap, metal, junk. That's what it's all about. Let's see what it's going to look like when we start putting it together. Okay, I had the frame cut down. All I did was I cut the sides in half and slid it together. And now you can see the overall size of what we're looking at here. Quite a bit smaller. That's good. Now what I have to do now is grind some of this paint off so I can weld these two sections together. I don't know where this thing was made. Probably China, and who knows what kind of paint this is. I'm going to wear a respirator when I sand it off. Also, I've marked some of my parts here to be cut off. I'm not going to need this sticking out all the way. I'm going to cut it back a little bit. And this is going to be cut, and this plate that's on the end I'm going to remove and put up in here. That's going to be the brace down to the bottom. We're moving right along with this project. Welded the bed frames together. Not going to give you any close-up on the welds. They're not all that great. I found out what the problem was with the welding, actually. I've been using welding wire that was from 2012. I ran out the other day, took the spool out of the machine and looked at it, and I said, oh my goodness, that's why it's smoking and spattering and just not doing a good job. I was second guessing my welding abilities. I don't weld that much. I'm an amateur welder at best, but I glue metal together. That's what it's all about. So what I've done here, welded these two angle iron pieces together where they overlapped. On the bottom I have another 1/4 inch reinforcement because I understand this corner here receives a lot of the flexing forces, and it needs to be reinforced. That's pretty much it now. I have it all laid out for what I have to do. I have my markings. I have an idea what I'm going to do as far as bracing is concerned out when the pipes come out further. But I know the pipes will bend with 500 pounds on them. I've bent them myself before. So I'm going to have to run a reinforcement from here on down somehow. Maybe the wood along the sides when I create the box is going to reinforce it. I don't know. I haven't completely figured that part out yet. Here's the current update on the carrier for the back of the Kioti. Bed frames have been cut in half, welded back together all along their length. It's not pretty because it was an edge weld and it blew through a lot of the metal. So now it's, with the two pieces together, it's a 1/4 inch thick. I've welded the support across for the top link, two pieces of 1/4 inch steel holding them on. I'm not pleased with this so far. This is the only thing I see flexing at this point. You might be able to see it. It flexes. Going to have to reinforce this with another piece of angle underneath, or I don't know, something. I'll figure something else out. Bottom links in, top link in. These pipes are going to form the support for the bed that's going to be on here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take pieces of pressure treated. It's already been notched for this little rectangular piece. I'm going to screw them on. I'm going to box this all in, give it support, and I'm going to put the decking on the top. I'm going to do the same in the back. Going to put a 2x4 along in here, screw it in, lag bolts, carriage bolts. I haven't figured out yet. And that's going to form the support for the deck pieces that went up the top here, that go up the top. I chose the decking instead of 2x to save weight. Hopefully the strength won't be compromised, but I don't think so. I think it's going to work out just fine. I welded another piece of angle iron across the bottom here to stiffen this up. I can't touch any of this, I just painted it so it's still wet. But that's going to give me more support, so it's not going to rock as much. I cut the ends off, re-welded the pieces on the end to run my 2x4s down on, cut the bottom parts off, and put 2 coats of Rust-Oleum paint with a paintbrush, believe it or not. Really thick on here. It's going to be outside the whole time. I want the metal to be covered as much as possible. We're putting the sides on, as you can see. This is going to lend support to the bottom. On the right is the bottom, left is going to be the top. This side is done over here. They're all in, cut, and I put a piece of molding down along the top. The 2x4 is bolted in all along the side to this piece of water pipe I have here. Hopefully it'll give it a little bit more support. And across the front, there's another brace. The bottom's going to go on that. Here's the walk around on the carrier. First thing that I met with my design goal was not to make it any wider than the tractor. That's what I wanted. I have small trails that go through the woods here. I don't want to be taking out trees, pulling this thing through the woods. Side view. This is all the way up on the tractor now. 2x4 goes along the side. It lends a little bit of support at a 45-degree angle to the bottom. Put a piece of 2x10, I believe it is, across the top. I intend to use that for like a workbench or whatever when I'm in the woods, so I can put my saw on there and sharpen it. It serves no other real purpose other than that. It closes off the top of the carrier opening. I want to walk around the other side here. That toolbox makes it hard to see. Again, there's our angle. Comes down. Nothing but deck boards. 5/4 deck boards on there. Here's what the back end ended up looking like. Tried to double up some of the 2x4s wherever I could to get more strength. Here's some cherry that I cut up over the summertime. Tree came down and I took advantage of it. Sawed it up, threw it in the bucket and just dumped it off back here. Still pretty wet and it's uncovered, so it's not only wet outside, wet inside. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, the moment of truth. Is it going to work? All I know is that bark is rough. Should have worn my gloves. Hands are soft. By the end of the winter, they'll be toughened up a little bit. Gonna leave it at idle, see if it'll pick it up at idle. Here we go. Hardly even slowed it down. A little wiggle, but a lot of that's coming from the hitch. I think she'll be just fine. Success. Success, fun, and cheap. 3 things I like. Puts it down, no problem. Good fun project. That's what I like here. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.